Welcome to the Liberty Left channel. It's easy to get under Donald Trump's skin, but to be a freeloader in his mind? That requires a special talent, which, of course, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who has been the loudest voice exposing this administration's corruption and criminality, possesses. Now she's forced to bring up the health scandal involving Donald Trump that the mainstream media has ignored. Even Fox propaganda had to address Crockett's statements, and we'll delve into the details. But first, if you like this channel, please like this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, especially if our libertarian left perspective resonates with you, please hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to me. Now, before we dive into Fox's madness over Crockett's words, here's where we start.
Let's say you were elected to ranking member and the Democrats take the House and you become chair of that committee. Would you pursue impeachment?
I would absolutely at least do an inquiry. Absolutely. I mean, I think that there's more than enough to inquire about. We know, well, we don't know. We still don't even know. I brought up Elon Musk a little bit earlier. We don't understand what all they were doing, what kind of deals were even made for Elon to be given this amount of privilege. The firing of the inspectors generals, he went in, next thing you know, inspector generals that were investigating Elon, they're getting fired. And then the pressure that he's put on various organizations. We saw that the merger with Verizon was able to take place only once they said no diversity, equity, or inclusion. We know that they have put a ridiculous amount of pressure and seemingly are trying to pull back resources from the likes of Harvard because Harvard decided that they were going to push back against his illegality. We know that he's shaken down so many of these law firms for free legal fees because he's going to need them, because the one thing that we know is that he likes to violate the law, whether it's criminal or civil. So these things need to be fleshed out, and we need to fully understand. And in fact, that's the Trump stuff. And the reason I bring up the Trump stuff is because there is one committee in the Congress that has the authority to actually do oversight over the president. It's the Oversight Committee. It is the only one that has that ability. And so I think that we need to make sure that we do it. I think that no matter what happens, history needs to know the truth.
Two last questions here. You said recently it's time for Republicans to start talking more about President Trump's mental acuity. And obviously they did that when President Biden was in office. Why do you think that they should do that now?
Well, listen, and I'll tell you, I'll go down defending Joe. I can't tell you that I've ever had an incident where I questioned Joe Biden's mental acuity, and definitely had no questions about the people that he surrounded himself with, that's for sure. Yeah. Now, when you are at a West Point graduation and you spend time talking about trophy wives, when you spend time talking about how you've been investigated to the likes of an Al Capone, when you spend your time literally in a very serious solemn moment that should be one of solemnness, but also of celebration for people that have decided that they are going to commit themselves, and some of them may even end up losing their lives in service of our freedoms in this country. And this is what you decide to do while wearing a MAGA hat. I don't know how you can look at that. I don't know how you can look at, and maybe he's just illiterate, because there also was the issue with him reading a teleprompter recently, and he could not say the words that were on the teleprompter as it relates to crypto. So I'm I just think that we really, really, really need to wonder. This is the guy that would go off about sharks and whales and windmills and all the things. Seriously, if it was me as just a member of Congress, I wouldn't be anywhere near being a U.S. representative. So how he's become the president of the United States is still beyond me, and how he continues to operate in this very ridiculous fashion. All you got to do is read the script, sir. Just read. And I know that stuff isn't on the script, right? And he can't even do that.
I'm telling you, really, Jasmine Crockett hits the nail on the head again. This woman has figured out the formula for getting a free ride on Trump's head. Look, the issue of mental clarity. While Republicans are making fun of Biden's age, what are they going to do about their own candidate talking about trophy wives and Al Capone at West Point graduation? The man commanding the world's most powerful army can't even read the word cryptocurrency on the teleprompter while wearing a MAGA hat in front of graduating soldiers, some of whom will risk their lives. It might be funny when he's spouting nonsense like sharks, wind turbines, but this is now terrifying. And the bottom line, the privileges granted to Elon Musk, the firing of investigators conducting inquiries, forcing companies like Verizon to shut down their DEI program or face no merger, threatening to cut funding to Harvard, forcing lawyers to work for free, just like a mafia boss. Law? What's that? Let's eat it? Mentality. The Oversight Committee's sole purpose is this: to expose corruption. History should know the truth. But what is Fox News doing? They're softening Crockett's words by calling them anger and brushing them off. Hypocrisy couldn't be more obvious.
Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. Republicans were in the wilderness after President Obama won, and so-called experts shared free advice, which was worth exactly what we paid for it. And now Democrats are in the slough of defeat. If Jasmine Crockett is a thought leader of the party, Democrats will stay in the wilderness longer than Moses did.
I mean, he literally sounds like someone who is broken out of the insane asylum. Like, he just be all over the place. Like, get him some ADHD medicine, if nothing else, because I don't know where he's ever going to go. It is time for Republicans to start calling him out and start questioning his mental acuity and whether or not he is equipped to serve mentally. We know when it comes down to his criminality, he is not qualified to serve. But this is just absolutely deplorable.
You know, it's hard to know where to start with Ms. Crockett. She mocked the governor of Texas for being paralyzed. She conflates attention deficit disorder with insanity, which is both cruel and medically stupid. What she's really saying is that a majority of her fellow citizens voted for someone who's insane. So what does that make us?
Look at this wild nature nonsense on Fox News. They're passing judgment saying the Democrats are lost in the desert. But why does Jasmine Crockett's decoding of Trump's mental decline upset them so much? Look at this hypocrisy. Those who cried about the Wild West during Obama's time are now silent about Trump's real crisis at West Point, with his MAGA-hatted trophy wife and Al Capone nonsense. Crockett is not right to confuse ADHD with mental illness, yes. But the real scandal is Fox using this mistake as a shield to ignore Trump's lawless mafia mouth on the teleprompter, which can't even say cryptocurrency. They're wailing, "The voters voted for a madman." What about a president who hands state privileges to Musk, fires inspectors, bans DEI from companies, and declares war on Harvard? That's the system that deceived the voters. Remember, cruelty is not accidental, it's systematic. History will judge this intoxication of impunity. If we remain silent today, we will all be buried in the desert tomorrow.
You spent the week hearing from constituents. What kind of questions do they have about this? This is the first time you've talked to them,
Yeah.
I presume, since it's passed.
Yeah. You know, I think that it's always important that we go home and we talk to the people that are going to be impacted and find out what it is that they know and find out what it is that concerns them the most. The number one question I had is, do people understand why this bill is bad and why there is nothing beautiful in it? And I can tell you that Texas 30, God bless them, because they listen to real news and they absolutely understand that these cuts are devastating and there is no good reason for the cuts. So that's number one. Number two, you know, I think that the Republican Party has tried to run away from Elon Musk for sure. But Elon Musk still looms. And so there were definitely still questions about the things that Doge did, because honestly, now we're talking about cuts to SNAP. Now we're talking about cuts to Medicaid. And so people are trying to kind of figure out, well, was this Doge? What's happening? What is Doge doing? And so I had to actually go through and explain that Doge really was supposed to be advisory. That is all it ever was supposed to do. I had to go ahead and reassert that it is Congress that has the power of the purse, and that Congress should have been listening to recommendations and then making a final decision. But ultimately, Doge was going in and doing all kinds of random stuff, things that we still don't know the full extent of what it is that they've done.
Without Congress at all.
Without Congress.
And your constituents were asking about this, asking about Doge.
They were asking about Elon, which Elon is synonymous for Doge.
Sure.
And then, you know, they were concerned about their Social Security. So they said, are the Social Security cuts in this as well? And I said, no. But I did explain to them that they are trying to choke off resources in a lot of different ways. So while it may not be...
Texas voters, wake up. Listen to what Jasmine Crockett has to say. While the Republicans are selling their budget proposal as a beauty, it actually hides cuts to SNAP and Medicaid. The public's first question was, do they really understand this mess? And the answer? Texas's 30th district, may God bless you, isn't drinking Fox's poison. They're seeing the truth. But the real bombshell came with the second question. What is this Doge thing? What the hell is Elon Musk up to while messing with our social assistants? That's it. The dark advisory board of Doge, which is stealing Congress's authority, is still unknown for the tax evasion schemes it's setting up under the guise of advice. Aren't they directly attacking Social Security? Crockett is clear. No, but they're draining the resources. So this is the system that cuts off food stamps for families on the brink of starvation while granting Musk space tax exemptions. Remember, the real wild nature is this ruthless system that sacrifices the people's well-being for Elon's luxury. If you stay silent today, tomorrow it will be your turn. No way. We need more Jasmine Crockett's. If only we could clone her and have 50 of her, the world would be fixed in no time. We will continue to carry on her incredible fighting spirit and raise our voices. If you want to support this libertarian leftist struggle, subscribe, like this video.